Hello everyone, Crasher Chase is back, and I have my very first ever Pokemon X and Y analysis video. It features the Order Pokemon known as Zygarde, who, to a lot of people, including myself, speculate to being the titled legendary for the possible Pokemon Z version or a sequel of Pokemon X and Y that could come out. So with that, I will be going over a few things like its stats, typing, and ability, and some usable move sets that I have here. So without further ado, let's get to it. So as you see here, Zygarde's ability is known as Aura Break, which is exclusive to Zygarde only, and what it does is it nullifies and reverses the aura abilities of Xerneas and Yveltal, that being Fairy Aura and Dark Aura, which is pretty good. But other than that, its ability kind of sucks because I don't think there's any other Pokemon that gets affected by this ability, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it is. As for its typing, it is that of Dragon and Ground type, which is pretty good considering that you have an immunity to electricity, a resistance to poison, and also a resistance to rock, and you're also resistant to stealth rocks on the switch in, so you won't be taking that much damage. And you're also resistant to fire, which is pretty good. You are, however, weak to the likes of especially ice types being 4 times super effective, dragon, and also the omnipresent fairy types, which in my opinion is going to absolutely dominate this generation's metagame. As for its stats, it has a very nice base 108 HP, which is the equivalent of Hippowdon's HP, which is awesome. Its attack stat is base 100, which is good. Base 121 physical defense. Wow. So on the physical side, it can take hits very well. Its special attack is that of 81, which is pretty mediocre in comparison to its 100 attack. Its special defense is base 95, and its speed is base 95. So overall, this guy is actually pretty good, both offensively and defensively. And I have a few sets here that makes use of its stats both offensively and defensively, if I hadn't said that already. So let's move on to the first set, shall we? So the first set that we have here is going to make use of Zygarde's offensive abilities. And the ability that we're going to be using is Aura Break because that's the only ability it has. The item for choice, you can either use a Lumberry to be cured of statuses or Leftovers to increase your longevity. The nature we're going to be using, you can either go with Adamant to boost its attack even further, or you can go with Jolly to boost its speed even further. As for the EV spread, 4 are going to go into HP, 252 into attack, and 252 into speed, um, giving you as much speed and attack power as possible. As for the move set, it gets Dragon Dance, which I think is very awesome, so we're going to throw that in. The next move that we're going to be using is known as Earthquake, and that's basically like just since Generation 1, that has been like the best ground type move. And since this guy has it, we're going with it. And it gets stabbed too, which is amazing. The third move that we're going to be using is known as Outrage, which is a very powerful dragon type attack. Um, it does have its drawbacks though. Once you use that move, you're locked into it for 2 to 3 turns and you cannot switch out. So you gotta exercise caution when you're using a move like that. And the last move slot that we have, you can either go with Stone Edge to give the perfect, almost perfect coverage, that being the Edgequake combo, or you can go with Extreme Speed. Yeah, that's right. Your eyes do not deceive you, and I do not deceive you. It gets extreme speed, which is very awesome. So, my recommendation for this set is if you're going to be going with the Jolly nature, then use Stone Edge, but if you're going to be going with Adamant, use Extreme Speed, because Extreme Speed is the top priority move, and it always goes first. And it hits pretty good for base 80 power, and it's a normal type attack, so it's actually really awesome. So that wraps up the first set. Let's go to the next one. So this next set here is going to focus on being a defensive wall, and with a 108 base HP and 121 base physical defense, I'd say that Zygarde can pull this set off pretty well. So the ability that we're going to be using, once again, the one and only Aura Break, which is, again, the only ability it has. Um, the item for choice, we're going to go with Leftovers to increase its longevity. However, something I also thought of, you can go with Rocky Helmet. And what that does is it basically damages any Pokemon that uses a contact move. So I think that's actually really good. The nature of that we're going to be using is Impish, which lowers its special attack and increases its physical defense. Um, as for the EV spread, 252 are going into HP, 252 into defense, and 4 into speed, giving you as much bulk possible. And as for the move set, this is actually going to be a Rest Talk set. So Rest and Sleep Talk are the first two moves, and it's like the crux of this whole set to make you as bulky and as annoying as possible, and also gives you a lot more staying power in the battles. The next move we're going to be using is known as Glare, which in 5th generation was a base 90 accuracy move that was like a normal type version of Thunder Wave, but now in this generation it gets base 100 accuracy, which is perfect. So it's just like you just gotta throw it on there. And the last move that we have is known as Dragon Tail, which is a move that was introduced in 5th generation, and it's a move that deals damage, but it also forces a switch after you deal damage. Now, I will say this, you are basically contemplating suiciding with Zygarde if you use this set against a fairy type, because fairy types are immune to dragon type moves. So, other than inflicting paralysis, you couldn't do anything to a fairy type Pokemon. But that's basically all I have for this set. I got one more for you, so let's go. So with this last set here, it's an offensive set, but it also showcases you being as bulky as possible while dealing damage. The ability that we have, once again, Aura Break, aka the only ability that it has, as I said over and over again. Gets repetitive, doesn't it? Anyways, the item for choice, you can go with Leftovers to once again increase longevity, or go with Lumberry to prevent being statused for a turn. The nature that we're going to be using is Adamant to give you as much physical attack power as possible. The EV spread, 252 are going into HP, 252 into attack, and 4 into speed. The move set that we have, Coil, which is a very awesome move that is like a better version of Bulk Up, but not only does it increase its attack and defense, but it also increases its accuracy. Um, the second move that we're going to be using is known as Earthquake, which is a solid ground type move. The next move that we're going to be using is known as Stone Edge, which, as I've said earlier, it gives you the near perfect coverage, aka the Edgequake combo or the Stonequake combo. And after one coil boost, the accuracy of Stone Edge is perfect. Now, the last move slot, it's really up to you. You can go with Outrage because it is stab and it is powerful, but the drawbacks of it is that you're locked into it for 2 to 3 turns, and a fairy type Pokemon is immune to it, so it can easily switch in and deal severe damage to you. The next move you can use is known as Dragon Tail, which is a good stab move, but also forces a switch out, but again, it's completely useless against fairy types. And the last suggestion is known as Extreme Speed, which is very good, especially if you're not going to be investing in speed all that much. Having a priority move like Extreme Speed is very, very, very good. And I just want to say that I think that this Pokemon is going to do very well in the metagame. If you play it correctly, then this guy will not let you down. That's basically all I have for this video, guys. Stay tuned for more uploads, as Cerebi is updating their stuff as quickly as possible. So stay tuned, and as always, have a good night, and see you next upload. Crasher Chase is out.